The first 6 lessons in our series will focus on the very basics of each chess piece. We'll discover its name, we'll find out how it moves, and we'll even show you some little mini games you can play to test your new skills. The first of the 6 pieces is the pawn, P-A-W-N, the smallest and least powerful of all. Let's take a good look at the pawn, and then we'll show you a mini game to play against anyone you want to challenge. Let's take a look. Now the normal move of the pawn is to go 1 square forwards to there, or if he prefers, on the first move the pawn does, he can go 2 squares forwards, which will take him to this square. It might be worth familiarising yourself immediately with the coordinates of the chessboard. The numbers and letters are on the outside of the board. It will make it much simpler to communicate what's happening on the board. So the pawn at the moment is on the square E2, E2, and he has the choice of going to E3 or E4. On this occasion we shall go 2 squares forwards. Now we'll find him on E4. Pawns can't go backwards, pawns can't go sideways, they can only ever go forwards, and the normal move is 1 square at a time. Now we have 3 pawns on the board. We've got a black pawn on E7, a white pawn on E2, and a white pawn on D2. Let's just play a couple of moves and see what happens. The white pawn can go 2 squares if he wants to, or 1 square. On this occasion he goes 2 squares. And black, of course, is moving forwards, but forwards for him means he's coming down the chessboard to here. Now his pawn is on E5, E5. Now if white continues this little pattern, moving his pawn 2 squares forwards, he ends up on D4. And now we find one more move the pawn can do. Instead of going forwards to capture something, as it would do in most board games, we can actually take things on the diagonal. Diagonally forwards, just like that. We don't have to take something in chess, but it's often desirable to do so. So to recap that, the normal move of the pawn is 1 square forwards. He can go 2 squares the first time he moves, and if he wants to capture something, he needs to go diagonally forwards. Of course, we don't just have 1 pawn or even 2. We start a game of chess with 8 pawns each. 8 white pawns, 8 black pawns. And notice we start on the second line for each side. Black ones are on their second line as well, because the back line is reserved for the larger pieces. And we're going to look at those one at a time over the next 5 lessons. We're going to show you a little game to play, just using the pawns. Now you know how they move. It makes good sense to practice with them. You can just teach anyone what you've just seen in this video, or just show them the video, and once they're up and running with their pawn moves, you can have lots of fun with our pawn mini games. There are 3 ways to win this mini game. Obviously we start off in this position, the start position for the pawns, and there are 3 ways to win. This game's called Capture the Flag, and let's see how we can win. Remember, there are 3 ways to watch out for. One way to win a game of Capture the Flag is to capture all of the opponent's pieces. If you take a look at this position, white's got 3 pawns, black's only got 1, and it's white's move. If white moves forwards 1 square with its E pawn to E5, black captures the white pawn, white captures the black pawn, black has nothing left, white wins. Black can't move anything, white wins the game. So you can win by capturing everything. That's certainly a good way to do it. You could win by getting 1 pawn to the other side of the board. It doesn't matter which pawn, it doesn't matter where it lands, as long as you reach the end, you're going to win the game. Let's take a look at this position. 1 pawn each, it's obviously been a big battle, and 7 pawns have been captured from each side. Whoa, what's happening here? It's white's move. White moves forwards, can't do anything else. Black does the same, and we've got an exciting race of pawns. Whoever gets to the end first is going to win the game. You should be able to see by now that white is in command here. As soon as he gets to the end of the board, he's going to win. That's the second way to win. So we can get 1 to the end, we can take everything, or there's one more way. Take a look at this position. It's white's move. White cannot move the pawn on f5. Can't go backwards or sideways. He can't go on the diagonal unless he's taking something. No captures there. And he can't go forwards because he's going to be blocked. Let's turn our attention to the other white pawn. He could go 1 square forward or 2 squares forwards. Let's see what happens if he goes 2 squares. And then black has a similar choice. He could go 1 square or 2. If he goes 2 squares, black's going to win this game of capture the flag because he's successfully blocked all of the white pawns. We've already established this pawn can't move. And this one's got exactly the same problem. He can't go backwards, he can't go sideways, he's not allowed on the diagonals unless he captures something, and he can't go forwards because the pawn is blocking him. So that's the third and final way to win the game of capture the flag. So just to recap that, we can capture everything to win, we can get one pawn to the end to win, or we can block all of the opponent's pawns to win. In this particular example, black won. You can try and work out whether white could have played differently there and see if it affects the result. Have a little think about that. Back to the start position for the pawns. And this is how you're going to set up for your game of capture the flag. White goes first in chess and have a few games with this. When you've mastered all of the pawn moves and learned some winning strategies, we'll see you for lesson 2. A little journey to examine all of the chess pieces. I hope you enjoyed that lesson and make sure you tune in for the next one. Thank you very much.